The South Island starting to see drier, brighter weather coming through, but the showers not too far away from the North Island. For Southeast Asia, it's sunshine and showers.
It is in the details. A look. A connection. The moments that reveal the truth. Award-winning documentaries from critically acclaimed filmmakers. Witness documentaries to open your eyes. At this time on Al Jazeera.
A reminder now of the main developments in our top story. Rebel fighters are on the move towards the Libyan town of Sirte. That's Muammar Gaddafi's hometown, and it's expected to be well defended. They've moved on from the key oil port of Ras Lanuf, where they managed to drive out government loyalists. Some government soldiers in the strategic town have reportedly switched sides, and government forces have stepped up their attacks on the Libyan town of AlJazeera. Rebel fighters had claimed victory there after clashes with Gaddafi forces earlier, which killed at least 30 people. Now, Al Jazeera has spoken to a doctor in AlJazeera. He says up to 15 people have died in the latest fighting, and the city is running out of medical supplies.
Today morning, about 8:15 morning, there was a first attack by the Gaddafi militia using tanks and heavy weapons using these bombs. They came from the west of Zawiya, okay, coming through the street, and there were a lot of buildings and people because they were killing everybody in the way. They killed about 2-3 women, and they killed two young children in front of their mother because they refused to let them go inside their house. They killed them in front of their mother. And coming to the city hall where we are occupying the area there, using at least two tanks inside the center and about 4-5 tanks around. They started to bomb everything. They started to kill the people, using even the shots, using these telescopic shots. They killed about 4 to 15 people today in the city hall of Zawiya, the center of Zawiya. We are occupying this area since many days now, about 14, 15 days now. We are sitting there and refusing to leave this area because we are refusing to stay more and more under the government of this Gaddafi. We have trapped or captured about 5 tanks of them had been occupied by the people there in this area. A lot of them had been killed, and also from our side about 14 to 15 body had been killed. A lot of people had been injured. These 14, 15 people had been killed, but the injuries, the weapon injuries were a lot. We sent them somewhere else to the hospitals. They are using the area to kill the body, in the neck, in the head, in the chest, in the abdomen. These are the area had been shot at. There is some shortage because Gaddafi's military, they are occupying the area, the border between Libya and Tunisia, and preventing every support to come for us. But we can't withstand more long time, because we are using the things which we have, and we need to have support from somewhere else.
To Somalia now, where African Union peacekeepers and government troops are claiming some success against Al-Shabaab fighters. The joint forces say they've captured key positions in the north of the capital, Mogadishu. Commanders say they're also now in control of Beled Hawa on the Kenyan border. Dozens of fighters are reported to have been killed in hours of gun battles. But the African Union is also paying a heavy price. It's thought more than 50 peacekeepers have been killed in the past 2 weeks. Major General Nathan Mugisha from the AU's peacekeeping force, AMISOM, explained the significance of the Mogadishu offensive.
Troops from the Burundi contingent provided support to the TFG forces to capture two key grounds, which are the former Ministry of Defense building, Gashandiga, which I referred to, and the milk factory. Gashandiga previously served as the extremist major operational and logistic base.
Now, the peacekeeping force in Côte d'Ivoire is to be reinforced by 2,000 soldiers and 2 combat helicopters. They're being drafted in as a political standoff between rival presidential claimants Laurent Gbagbo and Alassane Ouattara shows no sign of being resolved. Some of the fiercest fighting happened in a suburb of Abidjan on Thursday when at least 6 female demonstrators were killed. African leaders are trying hard to bring the rival leaders together. Mohamed Edo sent us this update from Abidjan.
The chairman of the African Union Commission, John Ping, is in the country to try and advance his organization's mediation efforts to try and break the political stalemate in Ivory Coast. He has already met incumbent President Laurent Gbagbo, and he's also set to meet Alassane Ouattara, who's been recognized by the United Nations as the man who won the elections that were held in this country in November. Though they have been going on for the past 3 months, the African Union mediation efforts in Ivory Coast have had no results. The African countries have also not been speaking with one voice, with South Africa, one of the countries that is considered the leadership of the African Union, saying that the elections that were held in Ivory Coast were inconclusive. And all this now is making people here in Ivory Coast, to a certain extent, lose hope that the mediation efforts would result in a breakthrough and a resolution to their country's political stalemate. And this is one of the reasons, analysts say, why people on both sides of the political divide here in the Ivory Coast have begun arming themselves.
France is to enforce a ban on full-face veils from next month. It will outlaw the garment virtually everywhere outside private homes. The move comes as leaders of Germany, France and Britain have all called on the Muslim community to become more integrated into mainstream society. Barnaby Phillips takes a closer look at what that means in Britain.
If you want to find out about multiculturalism in Britain, East London is a good place to start. 100 years ago, the immigrants here were Jewish, more recently Bengali, and now Somali. We visited this women's group. They've all arrived in this country in the past 25 years. So, do they feel British?
Absolutely, but I also feel that I'm very Somali as well. I am both, and sometimes I find it quite odd that you get pressure to choose one or the other.
You have to blend and also at the same time keep your own. You don't forget where you come from.
This East London street market is typical. People of different races and all sorts of religions getting on just fine, trying to make a living. There is Islamic extremism in Britain, but it's not typical. However, the fear of it does provoke a strong reaction amongst some parts of the white community.
It's our country! We're taking it back!
They're called the English Defence